virtual victory in 2020. They finished second in the championship in the year that followed, and they've won plenty of times. Let's see if this is the time for Wisniewski to come up to the top once again. We are underway for the final in ESL R1 round 4 at the Nürburgring. We head our way down to the first corner. It's a perfect launch from Nikodem Wisniewski. Maximilian Benneker straight to the inside of Josh Rogers, committing in deep. Sebastian Jobe makes contact with Benneker, and not for the first time in his sim racing career, and it's actually assisted Benneker to come through. Josh Rogers now with the inside line as they head their way through the Mercedes Arena section, as the doors open for Luke Bennett to fight their way through. It remains second place for Maximilian Benneker. Josh Rogers losing out on the race start there, particularly in assistance from Sebastian Jobe.
And RHG have not had a good start to this one particularly. That's Toman and Chinchik who are stuck here really in the mid-pack. Toman just letting Jobe in there through the Mercedes Arena, but the action was up front. It's a good conversion from Nikodem Wisniewski. He's got Max Benneker behind him though, and I didn't see that coming, to be honest. The Mouse driver with a great start getting up to second. That's already given the Williams driver in the lead a bit of an advantage though.
Oh, a little bit of a squeeze there from Jamie Fluke on Kaiki Oliveira as well as they head their way through. Erhan Yoski staring at those two thinking, lads, let's not do this. Another bit of a squeeze on the exit of the Dunlop hairpin as they head their way through the Schumacher S. Unfortunately, Oliveira's results, like I said, in the finals aren't that great. Despite having a great percentage of getting into them, just cannot nail that qualifying. That has been the thing for quite a few drivers this season, including Joshua Rogers, who definitely signed off his best qualifying in a final this season. It's been one of his major thorns in his side in the full season.
Yeah, it has on occasion, and it's put him in some difficult positions in the past. Running third at the moment, by the way, is Josh Rogers. Sebastian Jobe has lost a place off of this start. He's down to 5th. Luke Bennett up to 4th for the moment for Team Redline. Not a bad day at the Nürburgring for him, although not quite returning to the heights of winning races as he did back in the spring season so often here at the Nürburgring. Out onto the front straight again at the end of the opening lap. Nikodem Wisniewski has about 3/4 of a second on the field.
Yeah, it's actually an incredible start from Wisniewski, pulling away massively from Maximilian Benneker, obviously courtesy of some of the fighting going through that first complex, but it's just allowed Wisniewski to check out into the distance, see what Sebastian Jobe can do if he can work his way up the order. So a bit of a poor start, a tame start from the RHG duo in 6th and 7th. The Yovski's not involved in the mix. Yeah, very, very tough stuff indeed. Rogers is surely going to go for a move, though. Like, we've seen him make moves around here before. You said it before. He can make overtakes happen. Just kind of put that move in the first lap into the past.
Yeah, you say that, but Benneker is in second at the moment, of course, and if Rogers goes for a move on him, I think that Wisniewski's going to get away with the race win. Now, it kind of depends on how much Rogers wants to actually win this round, or how much he just wants to take second away from the Mouse driver. At the moment, he doesn't look strong enough to do either, to be honest, but he's got to be careful that overtaking the German pretty much puts him into a position of fighting for second for the remainder of the race, and I think that'll be it. I don't think they'll get any further than that if the two start fighting.
Importantly, though, he will be outscoring Sebastian Jobe at this present point. We can see Jobe in 5th position, our current points leader, retaken the points lead in the previous race after the victory. There's Luke Bennett, the one that's sandwiched between Sebastian Jobe and Joshua Rogers. Also, anyone who wants to know, when you kind of look at it, you think, how are RHG leading the championship by such an enormous margin? Well, the fact that they have 3 cars in this at the moment, and when you look at a lot of the other teams that are up there with them in the championship, for example, Porsche, they only have 1 car. Yes, Shaw is in 3rd position, but they only have 1 car at the moment. Wisniewski, for Williams, they only have 1 car. Mouse, they only have 1 car. G2, guess what? They only have 1 car. RHG are doing this by numbers because they keep getting so many in the final. Yes, they're not challenging for victories, but they're so consistent at getting in the top 6.
And by the way, Yuri Toman certainly was challenging for the victory last week at Hockenheim. Very nearly got there as well. So we can't be completely unfair to RHG, but yes, it is about the consistency. And don't forget, back at Spa a few weeks ago for round 2, I think they had all 4 in the final, didn't they? So it's been a very good season for them in that respect. The points work a bit differently this season, don't they, really? It's about the accumulation over the rounds. If you think about getting through into the top 6 of the knockouts and the semi-finals, you're going to accumulate a lot of points. Even if you finish in the bottom 4 of a final, that's still a good enough amount of points. That would give you more than 20 points to the team. If you got through the knockout rounds, that's nearly 40 points in both of the rounds. So, you know, you're looking at 100 points per round, and that's if you do the bare minimum getting through to the final. That's all you have to really do to accumulate points. You can almost do it by accident by just getting to finals.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, is that, you know, to get to that point, yes, sure, you may not, like, for example, Keke Oliveira, right? He finds himself in basically, I think it's 12th position at the moment in the stands, might be in that kind of base. So that's 13th, wasn't it, coming into this race. But the reason why he finds himself in that position is not, I've said his final results aren't that great, but he's been in the top 6, and you're scoring points being in the top 6 in the semi-finals and the quarterfinals, so he's just constantly working his way through. You're doing more races, the more races you do, the more points you score, effectively. That's what we're seeing here, and so, yeah, it's... we're seeing, to be fair, I've said it before, when it comes to the changes between the fall season and the spring season, I think the points and how that's all been adjusted is, for me, it's my favourite thing. I love the fact that we're giving out points in all 3 races now, because it just kind of means that there's a bit more for them to fight for, even if they struggle to fight around here. I mean, we wouldn't have got the Bonnehaus overtake from Josh Rogers when he got past Bonnehaus up into the, what's it, 3rd position in the previous race, would we?
Exactly. It has created a bit of a different dynamic for us, which has been very entertaining so far, as Marcel Cincic just looks at a move here on Sebastian Jobe. Slides a bit wide there through turn 1. Can't quite do it, can the Hungarian, who'll stay behind for now as he looks for a top 5. Jobe seems to be struggling though. Best placed of the BMWs in qualifying, not so much anymore. Now Luke Bennett takes that honour, but Jobe is really holding up the field, really. Everybody else in the field back to 12th place is right up behind the G2 Esports driver.
And I was talking about this last night as well on the community streams when we were doing those. Again, look at the top 4. You've got the Williams car of Nikodem Wisniewski, Mercedes. You've got the Maus car of Beneke. That's an Audi. You've got the Porsche of Josh Rogers, which is a Porsche, obviously. And you've got a BMW in the Team Redline driver of Luke Bennett. The top 4 are 4 different manufacturers. The balance of performance between all 4 of these cars is actually very good, and I'm enjoying it. Yes, I know Eamon Murphy was talking about, you know, driving a car with 3 wheels and all that kind of stuff. There will be subtle differences, and subtle differences in the ESL R1 will make all of the difference. But, you know, you win some, you lose some when it comes to, you know, some of the rounds. Sebastian Jobe may have had the best car for the first 2 rounds of the season. That's why he won. Who knows? But that's just how it is. What we do know is the battle for the race lead is getting really close, Ewan. It's gone from, it was 0.8 of a second back down to 3. Beneke's closed right in.
It was over 3/4 of a second at one point, certainly. Now it's just 3/10. Rogers gets closer to Beneke as well. Bennett gets closer to Rogers. It's all heating up here in round 4 of ESL R1. Halfway mark in this race pretty much now complete. 3 temps separate 1 and 2. I think we could see a new fastest lap of the race this time round from Beneke. Nikodem Wisniewski holds it just for the moment, but I think that could change hands very soon as he closes on the front straight. Maybe he's even close enough for a dive at turn 1.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. There was no change of fast for that, because I think the tyres are starting to go off from the entire grouping, maybe even more so for Nikodem Wisniewski, potentially even fatigue. I know these are short races, but they require so much concentration. When you're not feeling 100%, keeping that concentration can be so hard. And we know Wisniewski's feeling a little bit under the weather at the moment, but he's doing a fantastic job looking for his first victory in ESL R1. Of course, it would be a 3rd for the Williams Esports team. So at least they'd want to be ticking that one off of the list, as Maximilian Beneke charging all over the rear end, looking for a pathway to go through. I am absolutely sure Beneke's going to try something here. Of course, did come across the line as the winner at Spa before getting a post-race time penalty, but did reaffirm himself as one of the top drivers in the ESL R1 by taking a victory a week ago.
There is the onboard shot on the right-hand side of Wisniewski. I do just worry about the Williams Esports driver at the moment and the way he's starting to lose a bit of ground here. You know, he's not been in this position very often in terms of trying to win a round of ESL R1. Max Beneke certainly has. He's the only driver to have won in both spring and fall seasons so far in ESL R1, and he might well be on his way to a 3rd round win. Wisniewski hasn't been in this position before, and that's concerning me a little bit in the way that he's driving, but he is still holding on to the lead for now. The German with plenty of time to try and take this lead away from him, though.
You say plenty, but with 3 laps around the Nürburgring, yes, there's plenty of times to find an opportunity to pass, but there's not too much time for Nikodem Wisniewski to have to defend. So, you know, it's swings and roundabouts, and every single corner you go past an opportunity that goes a negging. So, realistically, Beneke, it's now or never. I think Rogers' patience behind the rear of Beneke, even if he has had a move, an attempt for one, he's not gone for it, I think goes to your point of what you were saying earlier on. Do you want to win or do you want to finish in 2nd? That's the important bit. Here we go, into the slipstream. Maximilian Beneke's closing up. We've got 3 laps left to go here in the Nürburgring. There is no opportunity for the German to get past the pole at the moment. There's contact between the pair in the 1st corner. There's contact even between 2nd and 3rd as they just brush over the nose of each other, going into that first turn as the concertina effect takes full effect, really.
Yep, taking absolutely full effect right now. So Rogers behind Beneke. If I was him, if I was the Australian at the moment, by the way, I would be looking at a move here on Beneke. First of all, Bennett's quite close to Rogers at the moment. That's got to be of a little bit of concern. But also, if Beneke gets through on Wisniewski, then he's not going to be able to win the race anyway, because if Rogers has to do the same, then Beneke will be up the road by the time that Rogers is in second place. So if I was the Porsche Coanda driver, I would be fighting for that second place roundabout now, although they are running out of time. This is lap 6 of 8, so we haven't got too much time on our side at this point for Josh Rogers and Bennett as well, who's starting to run out of laps to win this race. But as we mentioned earlier, you really do need to be in the top 2 at points to win these rounds.
One of my favourite quotes from the world of cycling, something more up your neck of the woods, Ewan, which was in the Olympic Games back in Tokyo, which was in the women's road race, which was to win the race, you have to be ready to lose the race, and that does take effect here for Maximilian Beneke. If he is ready to win this race, to make a move on Nikodem Wisniewski, he knows that he's got to take the risk, which might open the door for him to lose it, right? And to lose all of it. That's kind of like, yeah, if he takes that risk and goes down the inside, he might lose out to Rogers here. He has to be settled in himself. If he is going to go for it, he might finish third, but he might just win. And it's those risks which you need to take advantage of.
Yeah, and the difference is, though, is that what you're referring to there is a one-off event. Gamers 8 was a one-off event. This is a championship. Will Rogers want to risk it all in the name of a round win here? Because it is a championship. You do need to accumulate the points, and Beneke at the moment has more than him. So will he want to risk it all? I'm not entirely sure, and based on that viewing, I don't think he is on the penultimate lap. Big dives further back, by the way, as Marcel Cinci tries to make a move on Sebastian Jobe.
It was Jobe actually going a bit deep. He was going right for the apex into the first corner, turning in very early. There's a mistake there from Josh Rogers. Whoa, he managed to catch that one before bringing it back onto the racing line. There was no opportunity for Luke Bennett to make his way through, but there is some pressure being dealt out here in the final in round 4. It's just where that pressure is really coming from at the moment. Nikodem Wisniewski's absorbing it beautifully. Sebastian Jobe's looking a little bit sketchy.
Well, it's getting close now. Penultimate lap of the race. Rogers still third at the moment here for Porsche Coanda Esports. He's got deep into the corner again. This time it's the hairpin, and really he's running out of laps now. 1.5 laps remaining. I do wonder whether Beneke has really just played this one to keep Rogers at bay, stay in that second place, and at the end of this race, is he going to strike? Wisniewski's still leading though.
Yeah, Rogers wants to join Maximilian Beneke in the history side of things by taking a win in the fall season and the spring season. But of course, if Rogers or Beneke win, then it will put them at the most wins in a final overall, which would be 3. No one has won 3 finals as of yet. We have a few drivers on 2. Darragh McCormack, of course, being one of those. Josh Rogers, Maximilian Beneke being the other couple. So there is the opportunity for them to have done so now, as in the background it's tight. Marcel Cinci and Sebastian Jobe still remaining very tight. As here we go, is this Josh Rogers' opportunity as we head on to the final lap of the race?
Beneke didn't have a good run through the final chicane there at all, and Rogers might have the chance for second. He's right on the back of the German. Here's Josh Rogers. He's in the slipstream of the Audi. He'll close in with that Porsche. The straight line speed not quite as good, of course. Will Rogers have a look to the inside? He certainly will, but Beneke holds him off for now. So Nikodem Wisniewski goes on to the last lap, still in the lead.
Yeah, you can only brake as late as you can, and the pair of those were on the absolute limit into the first corner. Rogers trying to make something stick on Maximilian Beneke, but on that occasion it's not. Big slide there from Nikodem Wisniewski as they head through the Mercedes Arena section. They depart T4 and the run down towards T5, and the advantage is at 0.3 of a second from to Maximilian Beneke. We'll have to see if Wisniewski can hang on right now. It's got to be a bold move from Beneke if it is going to come, but at the moment I'm not seeing that opportunity. I'm seeing exactly what we saw in the semi-finals. Beneke is just not there enough.
No, he's not, but Wisniewski is really sliding around at the moment, I should say, and that is making me worry a little bit for him. Is the pressure just getting to him here? The pressure will be so much weighing on his shoulders right now as well. Max Beneke will close in again, up the Schumacher S they go. It's a nice run through from the Audi. The purchase off the corner is not bad from the Mercedes. Now a really important chicane coming up for both. First turn 10, the left-hander, then turn 11, the all-important right-hander. Beneke needs a huge run off of here if he wants to take round 4.
Yeah, we come down to the NGK chicane, we go through Advan Bogan, the advantage is to the pole, is the driver that grabbed that pole position, the driver that's feeling slightly under the weather, the driver that's looking for his first win in ESLR1, the look down the inside from Maximilian Benninger, the look down the inside from Joshua Rogers, who's going to send it in for second place. That'll confirm Wiśniewski is the victor as he comes his way through. There is the move from Rogers in the background, he's just trying to find his way past, doesn't do so, and with all of that, Wiśniewski comes through the final corner to add yet another win to his sim racing accolades. It is ESLR1, it is Wiśniewski on top of the Nürburgring, and Williams are back to the winner's circle. It's fantastic from Wiśniewski. He did it in qualifying with that amazing lap in qualifying, taking pole position, had to fend off from all those behind, and he managed to take his victory incredible.